Today, I'm diving into live coding, updating our Recoup platform in real time, from revamping the Twitter scraper factory to fixing that pesky zero segment bug, to enhancing our fan profile displays and on-click actions. And the big question, the most important question, how can we make segments more useful in chats? Let's code it live. I'll go right into sharing my screen. I'm already running my app, so we don't have any startup time. What I'm working on right now, we'll start with my roadmap. I am working on updating all of the scrapers. Currently, only the Instagram scraper is using the new architecture for scraping, leveraging the updated scraper and agent service architecture. Twitter, TikTok, and Spotify scrapers still operate on our legacy architecture. So what we're doing is we will update the Twitter, TikTok, Spotify scrapers so that they follow the new scraper and agent service architecture, ensuring that all scrapers are aligned in terms of architecture and functionality, and enabling consistent behavior across platforms while incorporating any necessary improvements or adjustments introduced in the new architecture. I have already told Chat to implement the changes, and Chat has already implemented the changes for me, and we are now hitting errors. I'm going to start from the top and try to trace through this so that everybody can see how we built our architecture. First place I go in is into our routes folder, and inside of here we go into the run. This is what triggers a profile to be scraped on Recoup. Whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, you hit this endpoint if you want to run a new agent for it to scrape that profile and get any new videos, new comments, new fans, new followers, anything new that has been happening on that social profile. So in this case, let's say we have called it for Twitter. So we've called this endpoint. Run agent is then called. It then verifies the body, throws an error if we are missing something. Then we pull out the handles. It can either be one handle or an array. Let's pretend in this case we're just passing in Twitter. We iterate over the handles. We create an agent, which is just a record in our database. And after that, we process the platform. And so processing the platform creates a status. We then check the status of all of the agents that were run. We update the status. Here's really what I want: process platform. We create the status over here. We filter the handle and save. Then we scrape the profile. After we scrape the profile, we update the social. After we update the social, we update our status. And we should finally, here it is. This is actually what I was interested in. If handle is Twitter, then we run the Twitter agent. This isn't right. I thought we had already implemented the change. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's check out my cursor rules to see what step it's at and make sure that I understand where we are right now. Debug Twitter missing post error, final analysis. So I was expecting pilot controller to use the process platform for Twitter. And I'm not seeing it actually doing that. And so do we have a Twitter scraper? Was I incorrect about we have a Twitter scraper. So we've already set up the scraper. Now we just need to test it. So I'll highlight this. I'll put it into chat. It looks like we aren't using the new @Twitter scraper. Could you please scratch pad on the question, what are the minimal set of changes we need to make to use the new Twitter scraper architecture? Question mark. migrate to the new Twitter scraper architecture. All right, let's see what it is updating here. Okay, we'll migrate to the new architecture, current implementation analysis, the current flow, pushing to the run Twitter agent, which is our legacy function, run Twitter agent. Directly calls instead of using the scraper factory. It's not aligned with the new architecture pattern. New architecture, we have our new class for Twitter scraper, which extends the base scraper. Scraper factory supports the Twitter platform. We've already done that. All required methods are implemented: scrape profile, scrape posts, scrape comments, and scrape all. In pilot controller, we want to replace run Twitter agent with process platform of Twitter for the handle, and then we'll remove the import of run Twitter agent. Code cleanup, we can then delete run Twitter agent after verifying there's no other dependencies, and then we'll update tests. I don't think we'll have any unit tests for this, but that sounds like the accurate plan. Based on the analysis, the changes needed are quite minimal. The key changes are in the pilot controller, where we just need to replace run Twitter agent with the new architecture that's already in place. Would you like me to proceed with making the following file changes? I'm just going to copy what it said, and I'm just going to paste. Proceed with making these changes. One, and actually we didn't get 2 and 3. I'm just going to delete this and say proceed. Should just be that one line. I could have done it myself, but my goal is to stay in the high level and not jump into the weeds of actual coding. Unknown profile was weird. Let's see what I ran it with. For body, well, I gave it a random handle. That would make sense. So we should swap this over to an actual profile. I'll use mine for now. If you're tuned in and you want us to test on your profile, please, well, I see Nash has just left us a comment of what are we shipping today. So we will be testing on Nash for this morning. Let me try to look up Nash's profile, and then I'll answer their question of what are we shipping today. Nash NFT. Is that the profile? It's not Nash NFT. Let me go into my messages. I know I've got a message from Nash. Nash, what is your account? Nash Crypto 615. Let me try that. Nash Crypto 615. And I'm verifying off camera that is Nash's profile. So the profile we will be testing this morning will be Nash Crypto 615, at least to start. What we are currently shipping, Nash, is the scraper for Twitter, and we're trying to update it into our new architecture. And so what we'll be doing right now is we'll be scraping your profile. You're a shit poster, nothing good. So we'll be scraping your profile, seeing that, generating segments, and seeing what we can determine about you based off of your Twitter to train an AI based off of what you're already posting. So right now, if you want to use Eliza and you want to create its personality around your Twitter profile, they have a tool, but they don't include your other things like your TikTok or your Instagram. Recoup has that. And so we're extending the Eliza capabilities to allow you to not only scrape your Twitter, but your Instagram and your TikTok, get a full understanding of who you are, and then generate the AI personality, the personality for your AI, based off of what you're already posting on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and based off of how your fans are already engaging with your content on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We also include Spotify, but that's mostly getting your music. Spotify does not have access to who is listening or when or any details about them. And so the Spotify side is more of an understanding of what type of music are you creating. Let's see how the AI is doing on its updates. But all these updates today are for Recoup. And if you have never used Recoup and you'd like to get started, top left corner of this video, you'll see a QR code for Recoup AI. You can check out Recoup up there. We've got a bunch of free tools, and it's free for you to get started to start automating your music career with AI to put a record label in your pocket. I see we've got another handle that Nash wants me to try, so I'll try that one out a little bit later. We've updated the scratch pad. Oh no, this is what I want. Okay, so it updated the pilot controller, and it's now updated to use our new scraper that we've already built. Once we accept that change. What's up, Kiki? I think she just wants attention. Let's update the scratch pad. If you want some attention, babe, come down here. Happy to pause and play with you a little bit. Okay, so next steps, test the changes to verify that everything that we want to happen is happening. We've made the changes, removed the import. We have not deleted the file yet. So that's something we'll still want to do. And I want to make sure that we note it. So I'm going to go to roadmap and I'm going to make a step 40, remove legacy Twitter scraper actual run Twitter agent file still exists, although unused. Required, remove the file. I love when it knows exactly what I want. AI anticipating my next step before I even say it. Okay. Made the changes. It updated its cursor rules. Would you like me to help you test? I think we're all good. I don't need you to help me test. I will run the server again. Once the server's running, I'm going to test it over here in Postman with Nash. I have a feeling we're going to hit some errors because this was why I didn't ship this feature last time I was coding. But I don't remember what the errors were, so I'm going to run it so that I can better understand the errors, so that I can update the cursor rules, so that the AI can fix the errors. So the first part of today, if you've ever been building an app and you get stuck with something that Cursor built that is not working, and you don't know how to proceed to get the thing that is not working from a non-working state to a working state, that's exactly what I'm working on right now. Cursor wrote the Twitter scraper. I had an architecture that was working. Cursor wrote a new function referencing my existing code, and now we'll see if it works. Hint, hint, it's not going to work. And so what I'll be doing now is debugging the broken AI work to figure out how we can get it. Okay, we have scraped his profile. This should be Nash's image. Let's check. If I open this up, is it Nash? I don't see any image loading. It's showing an error. So I don't know about that. Let's bring this back over off screen, go back into scraping posts for the handle, getting tweets. It says that it didn't get any tweets. And then it says that it wasn't able to process them, no posts found, no provided, and scrapes completed. Now it's storing the data. So overall, it didn't crash, which is great, but we didn't get any posts, which is not expected. And then we see that it finished. Let's verify in Supabase what happened here so that I can fully understand. While I'm analyzing, I'm going to have chat start to think it through on its own as well. So I copy all the logs, paste all the logs. It looks like no posts were found. Update your scratchpad with the question, what key logging could we add to better understand why no posts were scraped? I'm very much aligning right now in my personal practice. I really like the most important question, which is what is the most important question right now? In trying to figure out how to focus your attention, there's a million different things that want to grab your attention. And when you play against a good chess player, you might think that the chess player is thinking 50 moves out, but in reality, move 2 was incorrect. And so the other 48 moves didn't matter. What's actually happening is a good chess player knows where to focus their attention on the board. The young chess player, their mind's going with all the complexity of all the different moves that could be unfolding. The good chess player knows how to focus exactly on the part of the board that is important right now. And so for me right now, I see that it's failing. I don't know what the error is. And so the most important place we could be focusing is on adding logs to have a greater understanding of why it's not working, which is why I focused on the question, what is the key logging that we could add to better understand why no posts were scraped? Don't focus on fixing the bug, just focus on adding in logging. And if it can answer that question well, we can get to a greater level of understanding, which is going to help us to actually fix this bug. So going back to doing what I was doing, let me get a new tab of Brave open. Got some Pudgy Penguins ads. And we will go to Supabase. Supabase is our backend database, and it's where we store all of the posts, everything that we get scraped. It's all stored back here. We're going to go into the recoup SyncStream SaaS platform project table editor. And inside of the table editor, we'll go to agent status. When you hit this endpoint for a run, you'll get back an agent ID, and we can use that to filter on the agent status table to see what the status is. Status 2 means it's completed. Social ID is what I was interested in. This should be Nash's profile. I see Nash Crypto 615. I see this image. Let's go to that record and see if I can actually view the image, because when I tried to view it before, I wasn't able to. Copy the cell contents, open a new tab, paste the image. There's Nash's PFP. So we were at least successfully able to scrape their profile. Let's see if these counts are right. I'm going to pull. We got a following count of 522. I also see 522. We're showing following of 0. I think that's the same across the board. We're actually not tracking following. That's a bug I'm flagging to myself that we need to fix for later. And it was last updated on the 21st of February, so it was just updated right now. From here, I can take the ID of the social account, and then I can go into social posts. Social posts. And inside of this table, it's linking posts on social media with a social account. And so I can filter on social ID of Nash's social ID, and we can see nothing's in here. This is empty. This is the problem. We need this to get filled up with all of Nash's posts, and right now it's empty. And from here, we'll then go into post comments and see the comments, how people are actually engaging with Nash's posts. Now that we've dove in, the actual problem for me, the most important question is, why aren't records appearing in social posts? Let me write that down on my side. Why aren't records appearing in social posts? But even before that, we still need to know why no posts are getting picked up. The reason no records are getting stored in social posts is because we are getting no posts found. And so that's the first thing that we need to fix. Cursor rules, we're going to add logging. It analyzed the logging that it already did. Missing context in current logs, the raw response we're missing, any error messages, rate limiting status, authentication status, get all tweets, input parameters, search mode being used, pagination, a lot of different places we could be adding in logs. Let's see if it's already. Proceed with adding the enhanced logging. Just gonna copy that, send it. I'm giving it very few inputs. Like I wrote the question, but the command I just gave it, I copied and pasted from its own words. I didn't even have to think about what I was going to say. Now it's going to implement those changes. When it implements the changes, I'll verify that they look accurate. I'm going to put Nash back up of what are we shipping today. I think that's a good foundational question for people when they come into this to ask, like, what are we shipping today? Start with the Twitter scraper file, since that's where we're seeing the issue. Let's see what changes it's suggesting. Scrape vote profile seemed to work just fine. We were able to get that updated. As you can see, we're only getting follower count. We're not getting following count. Or if we are, we're not using it. Seeing a bunch of changes. They should hopefully all be logged. So I'm going to accept these one by one because I want to make sure that it's not changing any code. Like this, it's adding a bio length in here and I don't know why. Let's get rid of that. Don't want new code. This is, oh, is that just updating a log? Ah, that was just updating a log. My bad. Just updating a log to add more variables. This is updating an error log, updating a log, updating a log, more logs. So it looks like it's updating its existing logs, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing any new logs so far. Stuff in the logs, stuff in the logs. Empty line is not important. New logs with more info in the logs. Existing log, more info. So it seems like it's just updating all of its existing logs with no new logs being added, at least on the scraper level. But inside of the scraper, it's calling a bunch of functions. So we can now see we've added comprehensive logging in the constructor, scrape profile, scrape posts. I think you might have gotten stuck. Did you get stuck? We're doing a lot. We're doing the live stream. I'm having it write all the code for me. Looks like we might have an error on one of these lines. Yeah, right here, C. C implicitly has type any. It's okay. This is a console log, so I won't actually be pushing this anyways. No, I'm not stuck. I see that there's a linter error. Linter error is not important, but it'll fix it. And it added a type of scraped comment. Hopefully now it goes on to the other files. It's now going to update the get all tweets lib, and it'll add logging in here. There we go. Now we're getting new logs. This is probably the method that's failing, so I'm excited to see what's failing in it. No change there. That looks good. More logging about all the tweets that were fetched. Error handling. This file looks awesome. We'll accept that. Now it's going into a new file. Get Twitter comments, posts. Okay, we've added a console log. And I'm assuming nothing's being changed in here. It's a lot of logs. I've now added comprehensive logging. So it looks like it's finished. I'm going to crash the server and rerun it. Hi, baby. You okay? I heard you crying upstairs earlier. Do you just want attention, or is there something wrong? Hi. Hi, baby. You going to go into nap time? Come here if you want a hug. You want a hug on Friday? Friday morning hug? Come here, baby. Come here, mommy. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Hi, princess. Good girl. Okay. Yeah. Oh, happy Friday. How are you? I'm good too. Thanks for asking. What do you need today? Oh, you just need loving? I'll give you all the lovins, baby. You're such a fluffy baby. Yeah. Oh, you're precious. Listen, you purr. Listen, you purr. Thanks for saying hi. Okay, so we weren't even able to run it. We got an error. Let's add the composer. Unable. Please fix. Keep it simple. The error is being thrown inside of run Twitter agent, right? And it doesn't like, there's a type mismatch with scraped comment. So it did update code. I didn't read it close enough. This was the one file I was like, hopefully it's good. But we can see that it is actually doing weird stuff. I've already imported it, so you can skip that step. I was a little bit faster than you. But even after you import, it's still giving us the error down below. No, don't try again with the, just gonna stop you. Fixing composer. Scraping types, types agent. There are two different types of scraped comments. So it looks like there's two different types of scraped comments. One is a scraped comment from Twitter and another is a scraped comment from our normal factory pattern. I'm curious how the agent is gonna justify we're using the wrong type. We need the one of type agent instead of scraping types. We also need to include post ID. This is something I'll want to fix in the long term, unify scrape comments. So let's note this inside of our roadmap as well. Comment.post, yeah. Looks like it is now fixed everything. Let me try to document this in roadmap. (41) scraped comments duplicate type actual, two definitions for this type, one in scraping types and the other in agent types. These paths are not correct. We need the one types agent. Let's copy these. And another there. Remove. I think we want to remove the type agent. I'm not going to tell it which one to remove. What's the word to bring things together? Combine. I never remember this word. Oh well. Remove one of the types. Yeah. It's not combine. It's not collapse. Oh well. I'm thinking too much. Let's see where it's at. We should be all good over here. Are we good to run again? Looks like we should be good to try again. Let's make sure that the server's crashed. npm start. Can we get it up and running now? Sneeze incoming. Okay, looks like we are running this time. Just waiting to see the localhost 3000 to verify that we're listening on the right port. Let's send the request. We get a new agent status. And let's see, we should have way more logs this time. Getting tweets. No post found. We got our finished. Okay, so it looks like our, let's immediately send this off to chat so that it can start thinking through the error. I think it is getting an authentication error, but I'm not sure. Copy, paste, scratch pad on this question. What is the reason we are not finding any posts in the, what's the function where we're getting those posts? Got tweets, get all tweets. Oh, I think I already have it open right here. Get all tweets. What is the difference between our new at Twitter scraper architecture compared to at run Twitter agent legacy fully working implementation? Have it start looking at those logs. I am not as smart as it is about debugging. The AI is really good at debugging. So we had this working. It's not working right now. We need to debug why. I'm wondering if it's the implementation of the code or if it is my environment variables. I actually am not sure if I've run it locally. I think I have. I think I've run this locally and I've had Twitter Scraper work. So let's assume my environment variable is right. Nash, thank you for being here. I think I've had your comment up for like 20 minutes. So I'm going to put it down for now just in case people aren't able to see what's going on in my terminal. All right, what are the changes in your line of thinking? Okay, debug, Twitter post not found. Everything is going slow right now. Big lag between a scroll and when it actually is seen. Accept, debug Twitter posts, analysis incorrect, please try again. Creates a new scraper instance per class. Old uses a single global scraper. Authentication flow, new tries to authenticate and get all tweets for each request. Global scraper instance maintains the authentication state. Cookie management, new load saves cookies per request. Old reuses authenticated session across requests. Root cause, the error code incorrect, please try again, suggests an authentication failure. The new architecture is failing to maintain authenticated state between requests because each new Twitter scraper instance creates a fresh scraper. Cookie state is not being properly shared or maintained. Solution options, we can move the scraper to a singleton pattern where we give it an instance of a scraper. We could improve the cookie persistence, store cookies in a shared location, and implement proper cookie management. Error handling, next steps, implement the singleton, update to use the singleton. So it looks like it's going to go ahead with its singleton. And it is saying that the reason it is failing is because of how we're handling the scraper. It looks like in here, our scraper is not being preserved. So I don't fully understand. This is the first time I'm really building with classes. Luckily, I don't need to fully understand. Based on the analysis, I've identified the core issue is with authentication state management. The old implementation using a global scraper instance worked because it maintained authentication state across requests. The new architecture creates a new scraper instance for each request, causing the authentication to fail. Would you like me to proceed with implementing a singleton pattern solution to fix the issue? I copy everything except for the question mark. Proceed with implementing the singleton implementation pattern solution to fix the issue. And we let it try to cook up a solution. While it's creating, I'm going to refine my bones. Where are you right now? Physically in your body. Where are your sitting bones? Can you touch them bone on bone? Bones of your fingers on your sitting bones? Find them. Actually touch them. Come back to contact with where you are in this moment. Find your pubic bone in front. It's connected to your sitting bones. It's the core foundation of where you're putting all your weight when you're sitting in your chair all day. Where is your pubic bone? Feel it. Understand how it's connected to your sitting bones. Find your tailbone. Where are you? Where is it? What's its relation between your sitting bones and your tailbones? Find your iliac crest, top of your sitting bones, connected to your sitting bone and your pubic bone, all one shared bone that is the cradle for how you're sitting right now. Find your sacrum and how it's sitting between the two halves of your iliac crest. This is the foundation of your column, your spine, where the rest of your height comes from. And this central bone is where all of your life is occurring. It's connected to your femurs, your long bones. It's connected to your spine, your upper half. Where am I right now? Come back to the very physical bones. And from those bones, allow the rest of your practice to unfold. We've updated scraper. It's now using a singleton scraper. And it looks like it is getting the instance of the existing scraper. I don't fully understand, but again, I don't need to understand. Let's kind of blind accept. And let's try to figure out what other files we need. Twitter Scraper Singleton is another file. This is a new file. This is using the Twitter agent Twitter Scraper package. It creates a new instance. It initializes the scraper using our username, password, and email. And then we get ourselves logged in. Feels like the code looks good. They implemented it, created the new Twitter Scraper Singleton, which manages a single instance of the Twitter Scraper. It handles initialization and authentication. It provides proper error handling and logging. It includes a reset method for testing and cleanup. And then the original Twitter Scraper was updated to use the Singleton instance instead of creating its own. Added the ensure scraper method to lazily get the scraping instance. Fixed the property names and type issues. Improved error handling. Key improvements are authentication state is now maintained across the requests. Credentials are managed in one place. Better error handling for authentication failures. Improved logging for debugging. It updated its Scratchpad. Implementation progress. It says that it has created the Twitter Scraper Singleton. It updated Twitter Scraper. And now we want to test again. Let's crash the server. Rerun the server. We have not gotten our first. I'll reward myself with a little snack once we've gotten our first successful PR up. Until then, it's only tea. Looking like a successful start. Sheesh. Looks worse now. It looks like performance is degraded even more. Before, profile lookup works. After, nothing works. Scratchpad on why your changes still are not fixing the error. I feel like I didn't have a well-formed question. I don't understand how this is working, so maybe I should stop trusting the AI to learn about it, and I should look at it myself. So let me go into the create the social, get agent status, create the profile, update social, connect. Where is it actually? Okay, here's getting the profile with the scraper. Where's scraper? Scraper is new scraper, which is defined out there. Why can't we do the same thing inside of our Twitter scraper and just define scraper out here? Confused why we couldn't just do that. So it's going to update its new singleton. I'm going to give it one more chance, and if it's not fixing it, yeah, there's no initialization of a scraper, or at least I didn't see that before. So it might have just added an extra authentication, like initialization, that we didn't need. The lazy authentication approach. Interesting. Ensure authenticated. Do we call that anywhere? Ensure authenticated before scraping posts. Is it also called before scraping a profile? Scrape profile. I'm not, we'll just accept it. Key changes made authentication lazy. It's created without immediate authentication. Authentication is attempted only when needed. Profile scraping can work without auth. Okay, let's restart and try it again. Successful server start. Testing. New agent ID. Still failing, but potentially, okay, so we're getting profile again. It looks like we have now reached the same state that we were at before. We were able to scrape the profile, but we are still unable to perform those other actions. So let's at least, profile scraping looks successful. Why is post scraping still failing? Why are we creating at Twitter scraper singleton instead of instead of following run Twitter agent? Which defines new scraper outside of the function definition near the imports. Scratchpad. I want it to be writing in a scratchpad always. Just give it one more second to think and visualize what it's about to do. These are not simple ideas, and I don't want to just raw dogging a OpenAI response or a Claude response. I want it to take my instruction, show me what it thinks of what I said inside of its scratchpad. Then, once I verified its thinking, it executes its thinking. Let me analyze, looking at the logs. Profile scraping worked without authentication. Post scraping fails with an error code during authentication. The old approach worked better. It did work better, you're right. Debug, post not found, old implementation. We just put the scraper outside a single global instance. It's naturally persisted. No explicit authentication needed. Works reliably. The new implementation, profile works, but nothing else does. Old implementation simplicity was better. Over-engineering the authentication management introduced complexity. Let's revert to the simpler method. That sounds perfect. Let's modify to use module level scraper instance. Remove the singleton. Let's try that. That sounds like exactly what I was going to do. So at least cursor's keeping up with how I'm thinking. You've asked a great question. It always gives us a little bit of hype. I can now see why the old approach worked better. Scraper was created at the module level. This meant a single instance existed throughout the module's lifetime. The authentication state was naturally preserved without explicit management. No complex singleton pattern or state tracking needed. Why our new approach was failing? We over-engineered the solution. We added explicit authentication, yada, yada, added unnecessary complexity that broke working functionality. The old implementation simplicity was actually its strength. By creating the scraper at the module level, it naturally maintained state without needing explicit management. Would you like me to modify the implementation to follow a simpler working approach? I would move the scraper instance to the module level. Yes. This would preserve working approach. I copy this line, paste the line, modify the implementation to follow the simpler working approach from run Twitter agent.ts. "45 minutes in, still working on the first task, trying to get Twitter authentication working. If we are still working on this at an hour, I'm going to reprioritize if it makes sense to move Twitter into a new architecture, or we follow the methodology, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Twitter's working. I wanted to move it into the new architecture so that we have better class structure and more cohesion across the different social platforms of TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. But TikTok and Instagram are both using one type of scraping, and Twitter is using a different type of scraping. And so maybe they just need to exist in different scraping patterns. It has just updated the scraper to create the scraper outside of the class. Looks like we're deleting a whole bunch of code, which we love. Less is more, simple is best, small is beautiful. Accept the changes. Delete that singleton file. Should be all we need to now crash our server and then restart it. Hopefully now it's telling us it's finished with its changes. Let me update the scratch pad. That's fine. Update your scratch pad. It's exactly what I want it to do. Take ownership of that scratch pad. It's your sandbox. You're meaning me, AI. Give the AI its own little place to play around that doesn't impact the code, but gives it a place to be able to think deeply about the work I'm asking it to do. Yada, 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 yada. We're listening. Let's run. Still scraping Nash Crypto 615 for now. All right, fingers crossed. Is it going to do anything better? Still not seeing anything, which is making me wonder. Let me try a different account. Let me try that other account, Andy Frasco, or my own account. Let me try Andy Frasco and see if it is working. No, we're still getting 0. And we're seeing an incorrect. So what I'm going to do is rotate this back. Let's undo the changes in here. Roll us back to use, let's reject this to use the run Twitter agent. Let's save this and crash it and see what happens now when we run a Twitter agent. If this does not work, then our old solution also didn't work, in which case I need to debug my environment variables. The question, my most important question I've got written, why aren't results appearing in the social post table? The reason is the Twitter agent is not working right now. We have tried to implement our new solution. The new solution is not working like we expected. Looks like this file was modified. I'm curious to know why. I think we just, let's actually roll back any of these changes. Let's try running it. If it doesn't work, we'll roll back the changes. We're trying to get to a place of stability on Twitter right now. I've sunk a bit of time into this architecture change. Does not seem to have worked like I was expecting. So now we just want to move forward. Set account image, unable to read, starting Andy Frasco. We're getting missing posts for everybody. And so maybe it is my authentication is incorrect. I'm going to move this off screen and let me check out what my environment variables are. Anything that might be related to Twitter. and compare those to what we have in our deployed instance to see if that is something causing errors locally. Do we have anything? We have a Twitter email, Twitter password, and Twitter username. Let me try to get those variables from our deployed version. I'll do that by going to DigitalOcean. We're going to DigitalOcean. We're finding the IP address of our droplet. We SSH into that droplet so that we can see our agent that is running live. And then I will log what my variables are, my environment variables, and I will take the environment variables that I'm using for Twitter, and I'll put those locally to make sure that we are using the same environment variables locally as we are in prod to see if that is the issue. So let's go into my account. From here, an account with this Gmail is not found. Am I manually signing in? Oh, I'm probably using GitHub. Hopefully I'm using GitHub. Looks like I was using GitHub. Let's swap teams over to, no, this is the right team. Recoup droplet, copy the IP. Let's open up a terminal. Should already have one. Here we go. Get me a terminal. SSH root at IP. Now it's going to need our password. I get the password from my password manager. Copy the password, paste the password. Now we are in. If I ls in here, we can see the Recoup agent APIs. From here, I'm going to run cat.env. This is going to print out my environment variable, but I don't want y'all to see it, so I'm going to move this off screen. And from here, I'll execute that command. I see a big old wall of text. And so let's find the Twitter keys in here. I see the Twitter keys. I'm going to copy these, go back over here. I'm going to paste them right after my existing variables. The details look exactly the same. The only difference is that the email is capitalized. Username's the same. Password is not changed. Email, first letter is capitalized, whereas in the original it was lowercase. So I don't think there's any changes there. That makes me question even more what's going on, because the environment variables are the same. Next question is Twitter scraping even working in prod? Exit, clear to get rid of all those previous. We can now move our terminal back over. This is an empty state. And now, oh, we've got this open as well. Let's exit out of that. Quit. Let's move our code back over because we are no longer sharing our environment variables. Okay, so we have the same environment variables. We have some updates to the run Twitter agent file, so let's roll those back. Discard. Get all tweets has been modified just to add logging, it looks like. Yeah, it's only adding logging, so that should be fine. And over here, get Twitter comments posts. Looks like it's actually changing a little bit, so I'm going to roll this back. These are going to be my last couple attempts. The big question I have is right now, is the original scraper even working for Twitter, or is it actually not even working? So if this doesn't work, I will roll back the last file. After rolling back that last file, if we're still not working, I'm going to test in production with only one account being scraped and see if it's working in prod. Let's get Postman. Let's run it for Nash Crypto. Execute. We see a new agent ID. We get it can't find some info. We get the profile info. We get missing posts. Let me try it for my account, Sweetman_ETH. Trying this again. Unable to find account info. Missing posts. Yeah, so it seems like all of our Twitter scraping is just giving us missing posts because because. Let's try rolling back, get all tweets. No, let's just try it in prod. Let's see what happens in prod if I try scraping. Let's go to recoupable.com. From recoupable.com, we see a sign up button. I'm already logged in. I'll create a new artist called Nash NFT. Save that artist. It'll then start scraping the artist. It'll tell me the profiles that are associated with the musician that I just tried to create using AI. The only one that we care about is Twitter, so I'll get rid of the rest of these and we'll run it on Nash Crypto 615. Let's run the Twitter agent and see if we get anything. Setting up artist mode. That's normal. Grouping all of Nash NFT's wrapped fans into segments. So we now got Nash NFT's PFP. We have their X account. The question is, are we actually going to get posts in segments? And if it's working in prod, why isn't it working locally? $522 followers. We engaged, we got 0 segments. This might be a bug, so let me try refreshing. There's another bug I wanted to fix during this live stream, is that on initial completion of a funnel, it is showing 0 segments, even if there's more. We have 2 segments, so it's telling us that it did work in prod. Let's check if it worked by going back to Supabase. Social posts for this artist are now refreshing. It's suggesting that there's 11 records, which makes me think that it has now picked up 11 posts. We now have posts from Nash NFT. These were picked up 1 minute ago. We have a total of about 11 records. And I can take any of these post IDs, copy it, and we can go over to post comments and see if any of these have comments on them. Post ID paste. We got, we got a comment. Hey, can you DM me? So we're getting Nash's posts, we're getting Nash's comments, and we're able to get our segments with just Twitter, which tells me that everything is working right in prod. And so I should not be worrying about moving this architecture because we have bigger fish to fry. So while there's always things to be improved, I've already spent an hour on this and we haven't moved anywhere. So I'm going to go to linear and I'm going to suggest that we just don't work on this anymore. I'm going to put a little squiggly line through it on my map just to say, like, let's not worry about that right now. Let's prioritize and move on to bigger tasks. So right now I want to fix that bug that we just saw of the 0. When the wrapped finished, even though we had segments, it showed 0. So let's get that fixed. So we're now moving on to task 2. We did not complete task 1, but we did decide task 1 we were not making progress on it. So we're going to just move on to the next thing. We're in Recoup. We want to CD into Recoup chat, which is our front end repository. And then we'll open it up with cursor.slash. Hey, good to see that you're still here, Nash. I'm always curious how long people tune in. Do they just like jump in and then jump out, or do people stay in for a long time? So it's nice to see that you're still here. Let's open up our roadmap. Roadmap is where I enter in my idea of where we're heading. It's my file. Cursor rules is the AI agent's file. And those are the 2 things we use to communicate. This is exactly how I communicate with an AI agent when I'm writing code in Cursor. I have a roadmap file and a cursor rules file. The roadmap file is where I define the tasks I want to be getting done in the roadmap of the project. Then the cursor rules file, there's a scratchpad section in it where the AI is allowed to think freely. And so if we open up the cursor rules file, we give it initial instructions to give it the context of who it is, whether it's a TypeScript project, whatever. I like to give it a thinking step so that it takes more time to think deeper and do more reasoning rather than just giving us an initial response. And then the important part is that there is a scratchpad section. and it knows that there is it has its own lessons that it can read from, and it also has a scratch pad to organize its thoughts. So when it receives a new task, it should first review the content of the scratch pad, clear the older different tasks, explain the tasks, plan the steps. And so it has a scratch pad, and we've given it kind of some direction on how to use it. The roadmap is where I defined human readable steps. Scratch pad inside of cursor rules is the AI agent's brain. So I communicate in roadmap, it communicates in cursor rules. I verify that those are more or less the same, and then the AI goes on its own to actually implement the changes. Let's find the task that I want to use. Let's get Brave Browser closer. We don't need Postman because we're on the front end now. And so let's go to linear. And let's find the task so that I can check out the correct branch. It's Friday, it's 11:30 a.m. I still haven't shipped any code. I have an itch saying get a pull request out now. So I want to hear those emotions, but I don't want them to impact my practice. We set the goal. We are not attached to the outcome. If we're able to ship, great. If we're not able to ship, great. What's important is that we're making time to practice. Let's copy this. This is the error. First, I'm going to copy the branch name, head back into cursor, go to the GitHub tab, click on the 3 dots, check out to my branch name, 3 dots again, pull from. We're going to pull the latest changes from main to make sure that we've got all the changes we need. Now we can publish our branch. We are now on our branch. From here, we copy the task name. We'll define a new task 14 dot open close hard brackets, paste the task name, copy all of the actual and expected, paste them, delete the missing lines so that the formatting auto indents everything. And I don't know what it was doing before, so I'm going to open up a new composer context. Prepare your scratch pad for step 14. Most important question: why on analysis complete are we showing 0 segments, and only on page refresh do we show the actual segments? Why on analysis complete are we showing 0 segments, and only on page refresh do we show the actual segments? Yeah. Let's start there with that question. Not overthink it. Just keep up the practice. I don't know who Chibi is, Nash. Maybe there's other people in the comments that I'm not seeing. It looks like so far, as normal, we've got most of the traffic on this live stream coming from Twitter and only 1 coming in from YouTube. And I actually wouldn't count that 1. It's probably just, I always see that 1 there, which makes me think it is it's automatically throwing up a 1. But if you are that person and that you're an actual human watching on YouTube, please leave a comment so that I know that you are an actual person and not just an algorithm or some indexer picking it up. Okay, so it started with thinking, then wanted to do some investigation. It went to start doing that investigation, to analyze the code to understand why segments aren't showing up. It's finally going to give its first thought. I'm curious to see what it came up with. Problem analysis. The issue where segments show as 0 immediately after funnel completion, but appear correctly after page refresh, appears to be related to the data flow and state management between funnel completion and segment display. Current implementation, the data flow, funnel completion triggers the completed analysis component to show. Segments are fetched using useArtist segments. Hook uses React query, as it should, to fetch from that. React segments come from artist segments and fan segments table. That's perfect. Key components, we've got a couple hooks, a lib, and a component. The main hook that manages the funnel state, the hook that fetches the segments, the component showing the completion state, and the backend function for getting that data. Potential issues found between a race condition between the funnel completion and the segments data being available. There's no explicit refetch trigger after the funnel completion. The stale time on the React query might be prevent the immediate refresh, and so segments might not be immediately available in the database after the function completion. Investigate steps. It's investigating the data flow, the React query configuration, 5 minutes is a long time, and there's no explicit refresh. That seems like the issue. Identify the approach. It looks like it's already going. It hasn't even waited for me. Sometimes that gets me worried and it makes me think, no, you got to slow down, but I'm going to try to just observe that I have that emotion and allow it to keep doing what it needs to do. Use funnel analysis is now using React queries, and it is manually invalidating a query. Love that. It's complaining about missing issues. I'm going to ignore that, accept the change. What I'm seeing this doing is when the funnel completes, it is invalidating the current query for segments. And what that's going to mean is that it's going to refetch that data, knowing that the previous was incorrect. We've accepted that file. Now we want to check out use artist segments. It's now only 30 seconds until sale time. Refetch on mount is going to be true. I'm even open to it being less than this, but let's keep it small for now. Let's just see if it's able to do it. I think it's identified the correct location of the problem. We'll run pnpm dev to run our server to test if the changes are correct. It looks like I have not crashed my other server. Because I'm streaming, I want to make sure that I'm not running too much. Let's crash our backend API server. Now that that's crashed, we'll go back over to here. We'll crash the front end, rerun the front end. That way we're running on localhost 3000. Hi. Happy Friday, Solana. How are you, princess? My baby angel. I brought over a chair for you if you want to come sleep beside me. Or if you just want a little bit of attention. I'll give you a little bit of attention. I'm so lucky to have you. Yeah, I brought the chair over for you. Space is all set up just for you, baby. You can even clean out a little bit of the hair from the last time you were here. You're so gentle and precious. Slow movements. Good God. It's a nap time? Oh. Happy Friday, love. Oh, you gonna come up here to say hi? Come in. Sometimes I think you just want to engage with me. And you want to hear me talk to you. And make eye contact with you. And you don't actually need to be held or get food or anything. Sometimes I think you just want attention. That's your seat. I got it ready just for you. That way you have a place to sleep. And it's not on my desk. I know you're looking up at my desk. And if you want to come up here, you can. Just know that's the space I made specifically for you. And if you come up on my desk, this is the space where I'm working. So I might need to move you. If you start laying down on the keys, or if you, oh, there you go. You decided on the desk. Say hi to everybody. This is Solana. She's my princess. Where do you want to lay, babe? The only place you can't lay is on my notebook. But you could lay right here if you want. I thought you might come up here during the stream. And so I made this big old space just for you. No head scratches on the laptop either, because you're going to mess up the camera angle. You're going to change the camera angle, and I'm not going to realize you're changing the camera angle. So, she's a little love bug. Unlike a meeting where there's other people and I actually have to stay focused on a live stream, if you say you want my attention, I can just give you my attention. And even though there might be other people tuned in, this is my space. They're coming into it. And in my space, my kitties are my babies. And I'm lucky enough to be in a position where I can just make breaks for you two whenever you want it. It's the relationship I want with myself and with the people I love in my family. Whenever you need time, I can make it. There's no schedule, nobody telling me when to be where. We're just practicing sincerely, celebrating the happy Fridays. Oh, baby stretch. Nope, no head scratches on the laptop. We set little boundaries, but overall I make time for you whenever you need. No touching the computer, no sleeping on my notebook. Other than that, there's your world, babe. You in a comfy place that I can go back to coding, or you still want more attention? No head scratches on the laptop. Stop it with the head scratches on the laptop, babe. That one you can do. That one's fine. It's more stable, and it doesn't have a camera attached. How you feeling today, Solana? Sleepy? Just getting comfy. Not on the computer, babe. That's exactly, you just moved it. There you go. I think the camera setup's still okay. CP girl. Okay, looks like we are running. Let's visit localhost 3000. We're compiling. I'm going to try to run the scraper again. I'll try first running Nash a second time. Nash, if you're still watching this, I'm curious of what you think of your the two segments we were able to pull up. Looks like we got Chibi Galaxy supporters and Web3 advocates. So it seems like, I don't know what Chibi supporters is, or Chibi Galaxy. Maybe that's a project you're working on. Let me see if I can see it from over here. Wanderers advisor. Not seeing anything about Chibi immediately out the gate. So I don't know what Chibi is. But you seem to know what it is. You said Chibi. And then we've got Web3 advocates, which is a normal category for people in the NFT space. Still compiling, still compiling. I think 30 is still too long. I think we could lower this down to something like 3. But hopefully the invalidation of the query is exactly what we needed. We'll find out whenever it compiles. Other than the live stream, is there anything else I'm doing that is taking up a lot of bandwidth that I could be closing down to get faster build times? Quite long for a compilation. It's a judgment, long. It's an observation. It's taken over 30 seconds, potentially over a minute. Hopefully this is just on the first initial compilation. Getting running agents, why? Looks like we're running. I wasn't expecting it to already be running, so maybe it's been running here for a while and I just didn't know. Log in, go to my email. Go to updates, find our code. $709,733. Oh, finally loaded. Everything's slower when you're streaming. Okay, now that I've logged in, I'll add Nash NFT again. Let's click the plus button, name you Nash NFT, save. This takes me over to do that wrap report. I don't like this onboarding for a new artist. I think there's too many fields when we really just want you to put in the name of the artist. Main question, after the segment analysis completes, can we see the details? This one will already have records, and so it might not be the best example. What we might need to do is try a new handle like Andy Frasco. But let's try to be patient with whatever it's doing. I'm not seeing us get a page redirect over to Wrapped. So let's manually try to go over to agents. Okay, it's now trying to redirect me over to agents. What's going on? Agents is not iterable. That's never good. Take me to the other page, please. You refresh the page. Why? Go to the Agents tab, please. It's getting kind of ludicrous. Come on. Okay, I guess let's manually get over there. Agents. We're now on the agent page, finally. Let's click the wrapped agent, which should redirect us to funnels wrapped. There we go. Finally made it. We only want Twitter. Let's run Nash Crypto. We already have all of his data, so this is probably not a test that we actually want to run. We're still seeing 0 followers and 0 segments. So the changes did not seem to do anything. Is it going to update the data on its own, or do I still need to refresh? I was hoping that this would just work. I mean, because Nash already had fan segments. Let me take this photo, try to look over my kitty, put it in there. Scratch pad on what logs you'd want to add to better understand why are not seeing the correct data. And if I refresh, I should be seeing the correct data. Is that accurate? We're still not seeing an image over here for Nash NFT, which is different from when we ran it in prod. We're still seeing 0. So actually we might not want to update anything because this is a totally different bug. Let's stop it for now. It might just be that the analysis didn't work. Let me delete this artist and try it again. Might just be me being slow. Solana, I think I need you to move. I know I want to have you, but right now you're making it so that I can't see my screen. Can I slide that booty? There you go. If you're right here, I can see my screen. But I gotta stay coding. There you go, that's fine. That's an okay place. Everything is very slow right now, and I'm thinking it's because I'm streaming. So I might need to stop the stream so that I can continue to build out at a decent pace. However, I have spent an hour and a half not being able to ship any code. And so is this just a sign that I can't be live streaming my code anymore? I would prefer to be able to live stream my code. I like live streaming while I'm doing my code so that I can build it in public. But right now I'm clicking the home button and it's not taking me home. So I'm gonna try deleting all this, manually redirect home. But button clicks aren't working right now. Everything just seems to be lagging, a lot of lag right now. and I'm not sure what I can close to give myself more capacity to stream faster, build faster while I'm streaming. I'm going to try this one more time. Current time is an hour and a half, an hour and 26 minutes. If it's past an hour 30 by the time I'm able to run Nash NFT scrape, that's 5 minutes that it's taking just to scrape one artist, and that's too long. I expect the time to be less than a minute. For having the page load should be seconds, and currently I've been able to yap for a while, and it's still not fully loaded. I'm doing my hovers. There you go. Now it's finally expanding. Let's try this one more time. Nash NFT. Save. I expect when it finishes saving, it then redirects me over to the wrapped page. We got saved. I see the new PFP in the top right with an unknown PFP, and we should also get redirected to the wrapped page. So far we have not, and I don't know if that's just because it's slow, because I'm streaming. Oh, here we are. We made it. That was way faster. Let's take Nash's Twitter, put it into the box, click next. We're processing, reviewing top performing videos. Okay, now we're seeing Nash's PFP. Reviewing the videos. This is taking longer than usual. I'm gonna try, I don't wanna refresh because I wanna see how it works on initial scrape. We are at an hour 29. We're at least scraping, so it's moving faster than I had thought, and maybe I'm just not being patient. But this feels super slow. And I want my iteration time to be faster so that I can ship more code. Slow iteration times are the death of the 10x coder. And if streaming is going to slow me down, which it does occasionally, I need to get out of streaming so that we can move faster. Why are we stuck here analyzing? Let me check the status. Well, I don't want to leave. Are we still querying the status? I'm going to jump over here to check out what's going on. Agent status. Filter with the agent I'm looking at. That's not the agent. That's the agent. We've got one agent. It's in step 7. So that seems accurate. And it's not running on our local machine, so any slowness is because it's actually doing it in the prod agent. But did it get stuck? Because usually It does not take this long to scrape Twitter. What is step 7? I'm not familiar with what step 7 is. Hi, Solana, I love you, and you're just moving a little bit too much for this morning. When I'm working, I need you to be calm if you're going to be on my desk. We are at an hour and 31 minutes. This might be an unrelated bug that it's getting hung up on. Let me check the logs of the scraper to see if something happened. Why is someone here? Someone's at my door. Sí, sí. Bueno, media. Déjame ver si tengo video. Terminará a las 4, 5 menos 4. Entonces, sí podría ser antes de 2:30 o después de las 5 menos 4. Okay. ¿Crees que podría ser antes de 2:30? Esperemos. Sí. Y si es la única opción, podemos pensar, pero sí podría ser antes de 2:30. Mejor. Sí, 12. Okay. Nos vemos pronto. Sounds like they're going to be doing some work in a little bit, and we are still stuck over here. So there's most likely an error in the prod agent. Let's check it. SSH root at root. Get the password. How did we get stuck? Recoup. Copy the password. It's going to ask me for the password. Pip2 logs. I think it's 0 is the task. It says it's listening, but we see unknown profile at some point. I have a feeling it's stuck somehow. So let's try it again. Delete the account. Add an account. Nash NFT. Save the account. We should be redirected over to the wrap page. One 1,000, two 1,000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6 1000, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I guess it is less than 30 seconds, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Paste the handle. 1 1000, 1 1000, 2 1000. You saying anything over here? Okay, it's now processing. Looks like we are getting comments. Okay, that was way faster. Don't know what happened. There was some sort of bug. Grouping. Now the moment of truth. When it finishes, do we see segments? Analysis complete. We're still seeing 0. So I am seeing the correct number of followers, but I'm seeing 0 segments. I'm going to take a screenshot of this and pass it in. Whoa, it just it refreshed with still incorrect data. On initial load, follower count is correct. Number of segments incorrect. Let's check out on page refresh. If I refresh the page, do we see the correct details? We got an extra fan segment. On refresh, we're getting the correct data. So for some reason, the latest change did not work. On refresh, follower count still correct. Number of segments is correct. Scratch pad. Why the information is not correct on initial load. I'll stay on maybe till 2 hours. I don't like that my current state is. I'm not comfortable with the stream because of how slow my computer has gotten as a result. If I already know that I'm going to be ending the stream, why don't I just end the stream now? Part of me hopes that it's going to get faster, or that I just become more patient. Okay, it looks like it's going to add some logging, which I like. Start implementing the logging to verify the hypothesis. That makes sense. Which means we'll want to inspect over here. Go to the console tab. Okay, we got a use effect where we're logging a few different things. Logging to the use artist segments. Log if we're fetching. If we fetched, we get a query, we log the query state, and then we return the query. And now it's going to update the route. to add logging to the API request. Let's accept it all. Okay. I'm going to try to start manipulating the screen. Let's go back to the home page first. See if it lets me get back there. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, let's delete this artist. Delete it. Yep. Let's create a new artist. Nash NFT. Save the artist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 40. I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. This is pretty ludicrous. Nash, thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate you collaborating. If you or anyone else got any value out of this, please click the like button, leave a comment, leave a repost, click any of the buttons that you see on this video, wherever you're watching it. It helps us get more visibility to help more independent builders stay in